Yo, Wagwan, this is The Genius. I'm a Grammy Award-winning producer, songwriter, singer from Kingston, Jamaica. And right now I'm about to share some of my producer tips with you. Let's go. My first tip is having presets. Presets definitely come in handy, especially on the days when you're not feeling your most creative. You'll have sounds and stuff that you already saved that you already liked. So it will sound attractive to your ears from just hearing it at the first time. Presets can be like different plugins that you already like, or specific sounds in those plugins, or different effects, audio effects, that kind of things. Like, so on my Ableton, I have like favorites. So you see, like, I have favorite synths, I have Astra, I have a bunch of different synths here. I have my go-to effects folder, like stuff that I use. It just makes me more efficient and just make me work more easy. So definitely have presets, super important. So my next tip right now is about turning one-shot sounds into playable instruments. So I can pull one of these one-shots here, for example, like this sound. And then you could turn that into anything. You could just use the sound and make a melody from that, or you could like turn it into a chord, like, and it's like a different sound. I can add reverb to it. I could do different stuff, but it's not in a VST or anything like that. So that helps to like start your creativity in a different place too, where you can just take one sound or one bass note or one guitar note or something like that. And it keeps it fresh, you know, because sometimes you get used to your presets and then the one shots will give you a different starting point. So that's definitely a trick that I use all the time. So this next tip, this really helps, especially when you've been working on a beat or a song for a really long time, transposing the pitch of the entire beat. I do this all the time when I'm working and then when I'm making beats. So, because you'd be listening to it in one key and then it's cool, but then you start getting ear fatigue, but then you flip the pitch on it and it gives you a whole different vibe. Or it might help the artist you're working with. They might hear themselves better in that key too. So I'll show you an example, right? I'll change the pitch on this so you can see. So this is one vibe. If I change the pitch right now, I might make it higher. So like, this is a whole different energy already. Like, it just feels like a different vibe. And it might match your vocalist better too in this key. And it definitely helps you to like not get bored of the track when you're working on it too. Always try that, and just try it, because sometimes you get comfortable with the keys that you often build beats into. So just try different keys that you probably wouldn't be, that just out of your comfort zone. So it definitely helps. Try that for sure. It's a big tip. Alright, so my next tip is about adding variation to drums, and that's super important, especially with music that's heavily influenced by movement and like dancing, like dancehall. You want to have the drums do a lot of the heavy lifting, because that's what's going to determine how people move. And then sometimes the drum patterns can get monotonous, so you want to make sure like to add variations, and it adds a different vibe to like different parts of the song. So like, I'll show you an example in this beat that I have right now. So this is the standard pattern, and then like halfway through the pattern I kind of like switch it up, as you hear. Like, it's really subtle and simple, but it adds a different vibe once the song is on top of it. It's like a different movement, and it gives people something to look forward to. Like, I changed the pitch, and like it just keeps the energy moving, so like you don't have any downtime in the song. But it's super tricky. You have to keep it simple at the same time, where it's not like overbearing, like there's too much happening in the music, but just have enough variation to where people don't get bored and it keeps the vibe going. Alright, so my next tip, this is kind of a different kind of tip. So I would say have days where you're not just making beats, where you're just taking time to learn the software you're using, because it will help your efficiency when you're in an actual session with someone. So, you know, a lot of times I'm going into sessions and someone might have a suggestion like, hey, do this to the beat or try this thing. And then the producer's like, oh, how do I do that? So you need to take time to like fully learn and understand your software that you're using, so you can be efficient. I'll have days a lot of times when I go in, I'm not necessarily making tracks, but I'm just like learning and trying different stuff with the software to see what the software can do. So in an event where I need to do one of those specific things, I already know how to do it. Because if you're just making beats every day, you know, you're kind of limited to just your pattern and what you already do every day. But definitely when you try to take time to learn your DAW and learn how to get the most out of it, and you can like learn hacks and different tricks. Like when I'm in Pro Tools or in Ableton, I do stuff all the time where other producers are like, yo, how do you do that? But you know, it's just from me troubleshooting and just having learning days. And Splice has Splice skills. They have a bunch of tutorials that you could check out that goes back to the same thing. So definitely check those out and just, you know, improve your knowledge on whatever software you're using and just get stronger on it. It definitely helps. All right, so my final tip, this one is a big one. I think, you know, we're in a time now where we have a lot of producers, and it's a lot of really good producers, and we have programs like Splice that makes all of us better with like super high quality sounds and all the resources. But I think one of the key parts as a producer, you have to be able to know how to construct a song. So like when you're working with an artist or if you're working alone, like knowing how to form a song is super important, because that's gonna separate you from like essentially being a beat maker to being like an actual producer. And it helps secure the longevity of your career also, because knowing how to format a song and like whether that's even the songwriting or just the formatting of it. I would say a good way to kind of force yourself to learn that, let's like get a couple songs that you already love and just like dissect them, really like dive in, like see the common elements that makes the songs work, like check the different factors, why these songs work, listen to the radio, like see stuff that work and just kind of like check the patterns and see why these songs work or why you like the songs. Because you know, the song itself is deeper than just the beat. So we have to learn how to construct songs. Like most of the greatest producers, that's the one thing that they know how to do. They know how to format songs and construct songs. So that's definitely a key, super key element that we have to have. Yeah, so those were my tips. I hope you guys got some good information and got some good tips to implement. Get my sample pack, the Genius Sound Killa sample pack. It's available on Splice right now. Get it right now, get inspired, and just go crazy with them.